Thorne. Oh no, wait a minute. That's not Tamara Thorne. That is Sean Seeley, our good friend, a wandering vagabond. And Sean's been here on the forum with us since this spring. He's been an awesome help. You've really saved the whole year for us, Sean. You couldn't have showed up at a better time. And yeah, excited to just hang with you a little bit today, bro. We're going to talk. We're going to smoke. We've invited some friends on. We'll see who shows up. Always a crapshoot. People keep showing up, though. We have yet to have an episode with nobody show up, so that's nice. You're my secret weapon today. Brought you in, keep things interesting. How you doing today, Sean?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, it's the hottest part of the day, and I'm inside of a house, so I'm doing pretty well today.
That's right. Sean's been camping all summer. He's been sweating it out there in the woods, but he's got a really nice camp. He's by the creek. He's got some shade. You don't have to feel too bad for him. You've spent most of the last decade camping outdoors, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I've spent, I mean, in total, it's been a little bit more than the past decade, but yeah, the past decade has been spent sleeping outside in the woods on cannabis farms mostly.
How does this current campsite stack up with your camping accommodations over the years?
This one feels a little bit bougie.
I've seen some of your furniture.
Yeah, I've got furniture right there. That's a step up. But no, having creek access, having water access, more than just a little puddle to splash around in. That's been kind of a game changer.
That's nice, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's been awesome to have you here, Sean. You've been a total pleasure. You helped put the community in Thrive Homestead community. We lost Noble and Sierra this last year, so it's been a little bit more of a struggle just to get stuff done on the farm with a few less people. And yeah, you showed up. Was it in March that you showed up? Was it beginning of April?
I think it was March. I think I was in the deserts of Southwest Arizona, and heading up to Las Vegas just to keep myself warm during the wintertime. And yeah, I got a text from you saying, hey, what are you doing? Do you want to come out to the farm this year? Sure. So I think it was around the end of March that I came here. And yeah, after being here for a couple of weeks, it was just kind of apparent that I fit in. I liked being here. I felt comfortable, and did the weird thing for me, which is decide to stay on for a season and watch the plants grow. Help them along, but I consider myself just watching them grow. They're doing their thing, and I'm going to do mine.
Yeah, we are really stewards of these plants. You realize that more and more the more time you spend with them, that we can really fuck up their progress or we can aid it.
Yep.
And you got a ton of skill, a ton of experience. We're super honored to have you here.
Well, thank you.
Like I said, such a big help. You've been a huge help with our events over the years, coordinated all of our volunteers at the Big Cured Cup over in Nevada County this year. I was down with recovering from my hearing surgery, my ear surgery, which I was originally told would be a week-long recovery. And then literally as I'm in the recovery room, they're like, oh no, it's a 6-week recovery, which turned into a 7-week recovery. So luckily you were here for all of that. Tamara got this hemp license this year, and we got our little 1/4 acre of hemp here. So quite a bit more gardening than we've done in the last couple of years. We've just been doing our personal use cannabis grows. And yeah, great timing, bro. Really really came through for us. I don't know, we would have been behind all year, and right now we're only behind a couple of days.
we still playing catch up every day.
Yeah, but I just want to give a little bit of background on Sean. I became a big fan of Sean through the Instagram cannabis community when he was up working on the Benson Arbor farm up in Oregon, wrangling some monster plants. If anybody remembers, I was even before the move to Oregon. You guys were still growing in California and maybe in Oregon as well a little bit. But yeah, just watching, you were crushing out monster plants on a huge scale. Really cool to see what our brothers up north were doing. But then, when I really became a big fan of you was watching your travel adventures, because you truly are a wandering vagabond, and you have made an art form out of traveling on a shoestring budget. And when I say a shoestring budget, I mean pennies on the dollar, pennies per day, and doing an incredible job of documenting it, tracking it, showing how you use your travel, your tracking apps, and super inspiring, bro. And especially when I really fell in love with what you're doing was when you went to Egypt and you went to the pyramids, and you are in the pyramids doing your Instagram lives, and I'm sitting at home on the toilet watching this, and I'm inside the sarcophagus, and I'm in the temple and in the sacred room that no one's supposed to ever film in, and there you are Instagram living it. And it was just incredible to follow along with your adventures over the years, and I just became a real big fan. And then I don't know when we really got to start hanging out. Really, it was during the big meme wars of 2020 or whatever that was. And I was having my meme mental breakdown, and you joined in the fun and threw a little gas on the fire. And
well, I was having my own mental breakdown down in Slab City, California, and I think you saw that and realized we needed to team up.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, those they were so successful and exciting. My Instagram was forever deleted, and I have never been able to recover it. Those memes were so spicy. So maybe one day we'll recover a few and throw them up on the Patreon, because they probably get us banned off of YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, buddy, just always loved you and appreciate your sense of humor, your work ethic, and I know you've been through a lot, just like the rest of us, a lot of humbling times through this industry, watching it grow and blow up, and us all have a lot of success, and then a big spanking, and us all now living in our cars and on the back to living on food stamps and the verge of poverty, and but we're all in it together.
Exactly. And we still smile and laugh about it.
We're having more fun than ever. Like I noticed when I went to some hill parties back in my old neighborhood, the rich assholes that used to not talk to the new people, they all hang out and talk. They're all broke and struggling to try to get by now. So the ultimate equalizer and humbler, and I think we're all, I don't say we're all for the better, but in some ways we are, in a couple ways.
Some of us learn things.
Yeah. Hopefully we've learned some lessons from this genocide of our community and our friends and family and culture. And we're still growing on a small scale, enjoying the herb and more passionate about it than ever, and trying to share what we can with folks. Let's talk a little bit about how the summer's gone, because it's been interesting. We're growing this hemp this year. It's pretty much the same plant as cannabis. These strains are kind of cool because they finish a little earlier. They've really been bred to finish early, beat the weather. They're growing, in the South, in Kentucky, and in Oklahoma and in Oregon, and in these wetter, more humid conditions. So these ones we're growing that were actually bred in Oregon from Oregon CBD and Hoku Seed Company. They're getting close. A couple of them are going to be ready in the next couple of weeks here.
Mm-hmm.
I know Tamara was scheduling her inspection. They come out, and the county comes out and tests for THC 10 days before you harvest. So once you know your harvest dates, you want to get them out and then harvest 10 days before that and get those low test results. It has to test under 0.3% THC to pass as legal hemp. And these genetics should all do that. We did a couple little test plants of it last year, got those tested, and they were all testing under the CBG and the CBD. So pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
You've gotten to see now what our grow style is like for the year. You've gotten to work on a lot of farms over the years, from that big one up in Oregon to spending time at Green Source Gardens with Nick Mahmood, our good buddy who's been on the show here.
Mm-hmm.
You've spent a lot of time on some incredible farms, a lot of farms that we love and look up to and respect. And now you've gotten to see how we do it over here. We're still trying to figure it out and trying to improve every year. And we know the investments we need to make in a couple pieces of equipment for next year that'll make our whole operation a lot easier, as far as feeding, as far as maybe getting some mixer dosers, some dosatrons, so we're not having to hand water and feed so much. And we're having a spray with a backpack sprayer. We certainly would like to invest in a bigger sprayer.
Although it does build up the muscles.
Sean's looking ripped right now. Sean's looking fit. Sean, we might have you take off your shirt here and do a little flexing if the show gets really boring. Talk about hottest part of the day. This guy's fucking getting the mountain swell.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm a single guy. I live on the mountain by myself. You know, yes, there's other people on the property, but I'm on my own schedule. I do my own thing. So yeah.
Hit him up. He's free for a date, is what it sounds like he's trying to say. Hit him
Hey,
up.
ladies.
He's got good internet. He can send you some nudes, whatever.
Wow,
you
yeah,
know,
we can get spicy.
He can video chat. So get with him. Hit him up. And Sean's also been doing a ton of graphic design for us. He makes our flyers for all of our last regen sessions. Hit him up for all of your techie and graphic design needs. We call him the Duke of Tech around here on the farm. Even though he didn't have what I needed yesterday, he did kind of have what I needed today. We did make it work.
We make things work.
We did. The Duke did come through. So appreciate you for that, Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your take on how we farm? Are we complete fucking morons over here? Is the weed shit? Are we blowing it?
Well,
we are struggling in some places, but Lake County, it's hot as fuck, man.
It is.
It's a different game.
Yeah, it's like you said. I've been on many different farms that we've pushed the climate boundaries. I've grown. Let's see, we're at 3,000 foot elevation. Our garden was at 2,875, I believe, when up in Oregon. So to go from that to I think we're only at 1,200 foot elevation here. Yeah. That's a big difference. You get into the sunlight for one. I'm a pretty white guy. I burn up when I get up closer to the sun. So down here it's been nice. I've been actually able to tan a little bit. But the plants as well. You're dealing with temperature variations. Down here we were fine and set to start seeds in March. That can't happen in Oregon unless you've got a heated greenhouse and insulated, and you're good to go. I started off years ago growing in Shasta County, and we're kind of in the middle range there, where you can push things in the spring, but don't try it in the fall. Where here, I know I've come down here for harvest a few years back, and you're still going in November. That to me just blows my mind. Again, coming from that Oregon growing mindset of up 3,000 foot elevation, we're going to get dumped on rain in October, and the plants are going to freeze over by the end of October if they're not gone. So it's different down here, seeing that it's dry. It's very dry.
Yeah, it's dry, to put it mildly. 2 weeks over 100 degrees this summer, which we've never seen down here. Even today is supposed to be a high of 96 and mid to high 90s all week. So that's our normal September down here. And even last year we had some temps in the high 90s in October that were really hard on some of those earlier flowering plants that were just trying to finish up, kind of hard on some of the trichomes. So yeah, Sean, you're seeing we deal with a lot more pest pressures down here. Spraying our herbal solutions is something we have to do pretty religiously throughout veg down here. If we've done our job and made it into flower without any pests, we can ease that off and then just deal with any outbreaks that we're dealing with here and there. But yeah, bad year for pests all over Northern California. Our friends up in Mendo that are dealing with the grasshoppers, and we're hearing of russets in some communities, and certainly the ever-present spider mite and aphids. Aphids up at our friends in Willits we were hearing about a couple weeks ago. So we're dealing with some thrips right now. Doing some spraying our Jadam herbal solutions, which we're making out of Jerusalem artichoke right now. Our next batch will be made out of some tobacco that we have growing. We're also using the bay laurel as a nice pesticide, mixing those together when we make that Jadam herbal solution. And then, you're seeing how we do our feedings as well. We're growing in these hugelkultur beds. They got some horse manure on them last fall, so we didn't amend them at all this spring. Chopped and dropped lots of cover crops, so they got some nutrition from that. And then you've seen that through most of the season, we're doing a weekly microbial solution. We're making our Jadam microbial solution, and we're doing our weekly feeding. And it's a little bit of a stinky process.
It is.
Right now we are getting into our flowering ferments. We're just starting to feed those flower ferments.
Which stink just a little bit more. Just a little.
Just a little.
But in all honesty, I would rather be covered in fermented plant stink than crab, fish, and kelp emulsion. That stink it stays with you. It lasts. It lingers. At least here I know that I'm going to get plant stinky after I feed. It's inevitable that it's going to splash on me somewhere, somehow. But knowing that I'm going to be spraying a Jadam herbal solution later on that has nice frilly, smelly oils, I'm getting the other treatment.
Wow.
So, yeah, we're layered perfume here.
That's a great way of looking at it, Sean.
Again, we've been through some stuff, so you got to look past the bad things and learn to laugh and live with it. That's part of growing.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're so right. It smells a lot better than those sea creatures. And
Yes.
Although we can make those liquid fertilizers out of fish, we have yet to do it here. When I did it up at Heartwood, the bear came in and ate it all. So we are having a bear on our property lately. We're finding some poop around. We found our spring box knocked out of the creek and some chomped on water lines. So though we've got a couple big dogs here, we don't want to do anything to track those bears.
We all tend to sleep outside as well, including the children on the property. So yeah, to keep the bear at bay is probably a good idea.
One of our goals is to not get eaten while we live out here on the land. It's real Wild West shit out here. People don't realize that, but we are still in the forest, in the Wild West. There's mountain lions, there's bobcats, there's snakes. And it's really just some rugged ass land. You could just twist, fall down a hill.
Oh yeah.
Go in a mine shaft, it collapses. You just fall and hit your head out here. It's rocky and rugged, and
there's everywhere is a trip hazard and a slicing hazard. The serpentine rock that you have around here is so glass razor sharp. The first few weeks I was here, I'm a clumsy person. I trip, I fall all the time. But for the first couple of weeks, I was covered in blood from my knees down, just because I kept finding the rocks. The rocks kept finding me. And after I built that little layer of tough skin, now my feet are kind of okay. Kind of.
Sean, you're one of these tough-feeted hobbits that can exist year-round and on a cannabis farm wearing Crocs.
Yes.
And there's a lot of you characters out here in the biz and the industry and the community. I've never been one of them, but I've always had a lot of admiration for you croc-footed mofos. And I can't do it. I wore some really cheap shoes here on the farm last year and fully injured my feet, where I had big knots on the bottom of my feet and I was limping for months. And I do not recommend it. I had to invest heavily in some new boots with all my Christmas money this year, all my birthday money. And I literally can't leave the house here without those boots on. It's a little more effort making sure I'm booted up when I go outside, but my feet are better. Those knots are gone. I'm not suffering from foot pain. But I got so much admiration for you tough-footed Croc dudes. We got to get you a Croc sponsorship, man.
Right. And
Vagabond edition.
Should make a nice little pin to put on my Crocs. Just special for people like us. We've lost four-wheel drive, but we're still kicking in it. I can't tell you the amount of dogs that have ripped off the little straps on my Crocs over the years. But still got to wear shoes. Something's got to give.
That's right. Oh man, yeah, Sean, it's been a pleasure having you on the farm. Been a lot of fun. We've been going to a lot of events this year, vending at a lot of events together, putting on a lot of events together. We did this last regen session in Oakland this last month. That was a great time. Good turnout, lots of great vendors, lots of great speakers. And we're very excited for this next event coming up September 21st, less than a month away, right here at our farm at Thrive Homestead in Lake County.
You get to see my campsite.
You actually can camp next to Sean's camp. Only for VIP dinner ticket holders are going to get to camp. So we're having a 5-course hash pairing dinner with our good friend Alex Sharma of the Ganjier Ganjier head chef up there in Salmon Creek in Humboldt County. Alex was actually here yesterday visiting the farm. We were looking over the site, looking over our greenhouse that we're going to set up to do the dinner in, and how we're going to lay that out, and what the whole flow of the day is going to look like. And we are so excited. We've got some awesome hash makers providing the resin for this pairing. We're going to provide a lot of the produce, a lot of the squash. We were getting texts from Alex this morning. How many kabocha squash you got? So we are tallying up our squash as we speak. But we have lots of killer produce coming out of the garden. Other guild members are going to be providing produce and meat for this event. Yeah.
Really going to be a from the farm event. Like it's going to be fun.
Yeah, amazing hash makers. We've got Wook sauce. We've got Resin Ranch extraction, Kanjana extracts, our local hometown hero here out of Lake County. We've got Dream State solventless out of Willits, and our good friends Get Blissed out. So incredible hash, 5 courses paired with 5 incredible meals. Bring your heady rigs. We'll have nice tables set up in the greenhouse, and just a really fun day planned.
Mm-hmm.
We've got incredible music from Rocker T, our headliner, gonna close out the night. If you've never seen Rocker T, he's an experience to behold. If you actually go on my YouTube, you can see a video of him playing at our Camp Heal Thyself event back in 2022. And we've got a video of him just jamming out for 2-3 hours. He literally played, I think, till 3 a.m. that night.
He played until, I mean, it wasn't even that he played until he was bored. He still wanted to go. It just, we all just had to go to sleep at some point.
We had school in the morning.
Right.
We had class. Yeah, so he is a man who really lives for the music. Truly, the music speaks through him. And he has this incredible giant dub speaker setup that he's built, this old reggae Jamaican style dub controller DJ setup where he can make all the incredible effects and reverbs and the type of stuff that Augustus Pablo and King Tubby and King Jammy and these old famous Jamaican producers, Lee Scratch Perry, this is the kind of stuff these guys did, and he carries on that legacy. And you can't see that kind of stuff outside of Jamaica,
Right.
And it's so much more than just what we see a lot of today's DJs doing. And
the man is a true artist. Watching him play music it really is a performance. You're not just seeing a DJ, spin records or anything like that. This man is active, involved, will set everything up and have the rhythms going and then start dancing and being part of the party. And just, every once in a while go back to do what he needs to do, tweak things and keep it rolling. But yeah, it is quite an experience.
Yeah, he'll get on the mic and chant and sing and toast, and then he'll pull out the acoustic guitar, start jamming and singing, pull out the drums. He can really do it all. He really brings the party. And
well, he ran the sound session the next day, didn't he?
He ran a sound healing and chillum ceremony for us at that Camp Heal Thyself and that hash camp. And educated us on some of the history of the chillum and that chillum ceremony, and just really set a very spiritual and focused vibe for that day's lessons. And we love Rocker T. He's been at it 40-50 years now, making music, originally on the East Coast out of Brooklyn, and been here on the West Coast for a long time in the Bay Area, and bounces back and forth. And we're just honored to have him up here again. Last time he was here was for Moondust Gathering, an event that our former landmate Noble put on, 3-day music festival that he did up here with a bunch of incredible DJs, and Rocker T throwing down one of the nights there. So honored to have him up here. It's been about 1.5 years. So we really hope folks will come out. We've got a bunch of our favorite vendors from the Farming Guild, all your favorite hash makers, mushroom growers, artists, and edible makers. We've got some very special ones. Our friend Mind Blowing Sweetie is coming up all the way from SoCal, bringing her incredible drinks that everybody loves so much. Who else we got coming, Sean?
If you bring your Crocs, we're going to have a Croc race. We'll up and down the hill. We'll do it.
I bring a helmet and some knee pads if you want to participate in whatever whatever Sean's talking about.
Yeah, just oh, you eat shit, it's on you.
You're signing a waiver if you set foot on this property, that's for sure.
We've seen enough bloody parts coming off of people where it's on you.
That's right. We're going to make sure everybody has a nice, safe, enjoyable experience while they're here. We got some awesome food vendors. Our friend Kristen Callahan of Magic Meadow Farms is going to be here with her ganja-fed pork. She's going to be slinging sliders. She's going to have a cooler full of bulk frozen meat, so you can go home with some pork chops and some bacon and some sausages. And
all fed with cannabis.
Ganja-fed pork for real. She has a licensed acre grow here in Middletown, right down the road here. And those are some lucky piggies because she grows some award-winning cannabis. She just won second place at the Emerald Cup, sun-grown. She was on here last week talking about it, and she won last month's July's Regen Sesh. She won first place in our flower qualifier, won herself a seat at the Cure Cup next May.
Mm-hmm.
So we love Kristen and honored to have her. She was really the founder of the Regenerative Farming Guild, and really helped jumpstart a lot of these events. We had the first event that she put on here in Lake County back in 2022 when I first moved down here. Got our first guest coming up into the background here. We've got our buddy Lucas. Lucas is a new introduction to us. He's trying to get his camera to work. We're going to bring him up to the stage. How you doing, Lucas? You there? Can you hear us, Lucas? We can't see or hear you, my friend. Well, try to get your camera and your microphone worked out there, my friend. But yeah, we were introduced to Lucas this morning by our friend Abdul. Abdul is our buddy Bakur Basha. Anybody who's been at our last events in the last half a year has ran into Abdul. Abdul is a passionate hashishan, really lives for the resin and the culture. And he said, you need to have my friend Lucas on here. Lucas has an incredible book that he has come out with. I actually got to see an advanced copy of this book a couple of years ago, Lucas, that Kevin Jodry showed me, I believe. I was working with Kevin on a project up in Humboldt that unfortunately never came to fruition. But I got to see this incredible book that Lucas is working on. Let's hope that Lucas can jump in here with us. He's still working on his getting his camera and his microphone figured out. I think we can hear you. We don't see you. Maybe he's coming from the mountains of Afghanistan right now. Maybe he is maybe the mountains of Humboldt. But yeah, we hear you, Lucas, but we don't see you. There you are. There you are. Okay, I'm going to try to bring you in now. There you are, Lucas. How are you, my friend? Can you hear us, Lucas? Oh, shit, he's gone.
Yeah, that did not look like a stable connection.
No, I have a feeling Lucas is up in Humboldt right now, from what I gathered from his recent Instagram posts, which, as we know, has worse internet than the mountains of Afghanistan. In most places, it's similar terroir, similar elevation. It's the reason why those seeds, when they were brought to the southern Humboldt, northern Mendocino area in the 70s, did so well.
I'm sure.
Those Mozars, those Kushes, similar elevation, very similar to Spain. I've seen friends send me videos and pictures from Spain, and it looks just like Mendocino. It's oak forests and a lot of the same plants and trees. And
that was my experience going up into the mountains in Morocco, and going through cannabis farms there. That as soon as I traveled outside of the cities and started climbing up the hills, it turned into Northern California for me. It just, the same trees, the same browns, the same dirt roads, like everything looked like Northern California.
Wow.
So yeah, it was really wild to see that, cannabis grows in the same places all over the world.
I love that, Sean. Yeah, I love that. Sean, you've been all around the world. You've been to a lot of these biggest hash producing countries in the world. Where have been some of your favorites? Smoke, just for the smoke alone. Where have you had the most wildest cannabis or hash experience? Tantalize with that till Lucas gets back here.
Yeah, so like Joey said earlier, I have traveled the world. I've been doing it on a shoestring budget, and showing Instagram, showing the world how I travel for cheap, how I go to these places just solo. I think I've done somewhere around 25 countries with just myself in a small backpack. I stopped doing the backpacker thing of bringing my suitcase with me in big huge backpack. I go with I think it's a 30-liter backpack, a normal size thing. But yeah, Morocco definitely for hashish. You're going to find the most amount of it everywhere, and it's going to be available.
There he is. Lucas, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. How are you?
There is not much network where I am.
We hear that.
We can see you now, my friend. How are you doing today? Yeah, that's not going to fly. But hopefully Lucas can get to a better spot. Often out in the hills, you got to drive down the road to the phone spot.
Well, it might be better if he stays in one place as well and just has the phone set there. That helps too, or extend the hand out with the rock on the tree. Yeah.
Do the Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah, exactly. I've done it just to get text messages to go through sometimes. The Hills of Trinity.
Take us back to Morocco,
yeah.
Pakistan. What were you just saying?
Yeah, so Morocco definitely, for the hashish experience, because a lot of what we know traditionally as hashish and what you're going to find if you go someplace like Spain or Amsterdam is you're going to find a lot of Moroccan hash. But I think one of my better experiences, I can't say exactly which country, but the Middle East, the Middle Eastern region, to have some of those pure hashes from back in the day come out through the Silk Road. It's that's some of the best hash I've smoked. Tastiest, looked blonde, beautiful, fresh, and yep. There was one place definitely. As soon as I smoked it with the group that I was with, we were all asleep. It was great hash. But yeah, I've done a lot of traveling for hashish and cannabis. I wanted to chase the roots back. It's fun to grow plants. It's fun to wash hash. It's fun to see the everything that you can produce from there in your curing methods, both in the flower and the hashish. But what did these other people do traditionally for years that didn't have a freeze dryer? Yeah. They didn't have silk bags. They didn't have the rosin press. Where does that hashish come from? Why is hashish what is considered consumable cannabis around the world? It's very hard to find flower when you're in a lot of different countries. Yeah. You'll find hashish, but flower, you don't usually find it because it smells more, it takes up more space, it's more noticeable, and it's harder to consume in its pure form. Again, traveling through Europe and Amsterdam, it's hearing people laughing at Americans because you're smoking pure joints. We don't use fillers. We don't,
Sean, let's try to get Lucas in here one more time. Third time's a charm. If this is a no-go, we're banning him from the show.
I feel some network here. Can you hear me?
Right on. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you too.
Do you have a second window open there or something?
I think so. I am by the window, which is where there is the only network I can get.
No, all good, man. Lucas, tell us a little bit about where you're from, and tell us about the book.
So I am from France. I traveled in Afghanistan in 2018. I spent 2 months there for harvest season, so I saw fields in the flowering, the harvest, and the ash making, and also the different way they have to smoke cannabis. And so since 2018, working on a photo book I released 2 years ago called Afghanistan Face of Cannabis. And my goal basically with this book is to show that the Western cannabis culture goes to Afghanistan. I believe that in terms of genetic, there is a lot of Afghan genetic in most of what we do today. And I believe also that if I see
On your phone, can you try to turn it down? We're getting some echo here, and I think if you turn your volume down on your phone, might not.
my headphone and this thing. Can you follow my hands? I put a headphone.
Yeah, headphones should help.
Is that better? Hello?
Yeah, much better. Much better. Thank you.
Okay. So should I repeat what I said, or would you understand what I said?
Yeah, why don't you start from the beginning, Lucas? It was hard to hear you there at the beginning. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm from France, and in 2018 I traveled to Afghanistan for 2 months, where I saw the ripe cannabis field, the harvest, the making of hashish, and the different hashish. And yeah, I made a book about it that is called Afghanistan, which is what I'm working on 2 years almost. And my book is about showing the Western culture of both to Afghanistan. Am I speaking? I think it's not working, brother.
Yeah, we're having a tough time hearing you, Lucas. You got a real poor connection over there, Lucas. I don't know if you can get to a better spot. Are you up in the Emerald Triangle right now? We were guessing that you were in Humboldt with a real bad Humboldt connection.
What shall we do?
Yeah, all good, my friend. All good. Well, that's unfortunate. I hope we can get another time to get with Luca and hear about that book. From what I recall of that book, it was really awesome. It was following harvest time and going to these few different regions of I believe Afghanistan, to some completely different regions, completely different terroirs, visiting different farms that grew completely different genetics and different styles. And as I recall, they visited a few times throughout the season, and culminating at harvest, and you could see these big plants and how completely different structures. And for me, as someone that's grown a lot of these different types of indicas over the years, it's, hey, I grew a plant that looked like that, and oh, I've grown one that looked like that, and why do all the ones in this region look like this? Really fascinating stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited to get a copy of that book and shine a little more light on Lucas's work. The book is called Afghanistan, Fortress of Cannabis. And I know he's around Humboldt right now. He posted that he is between Ukiah and San Francisco a couple hours ago. I think he's up in the Emerald Triangle. And you can get yourself a copy of this really cool book. Hit him up on Instagram as well. Anywho, luckily we're here with a major hashishan who's going to talk to us a little bit about hash. Maybe we'll get out some hash. We did just get a 3-hole pipe from Cool Hand Sue's at the Emerald Cup. We could pull that out, rip a little of this traditional hash. Let me work on getting that out a little bit, Sean, and I'm going to run to the bathroom, and you give us a little rundown on I'll get this. Let me line up the Wandering Vagabond.
Oh.
Go follow Sean. Hit Sean's YouTube. Sean, what's the name of your YouTube?
I think it's just Wandering Vagabond, or I think they're, somewhere in the URL or whatever, there's a Wandering Vagabond YT, just to designate that it's the YouTube channel.
Follow Sean's YouTube. He's got killer videos on there. I guarantee you'll be entertained. You'll learn some stuff, and you'll get to see incredible some journeys around the world. So, Sean, pick up where you were leaving off that hash story, and I'll start digging out this hash pipe.
All right. You said Morocco. Where was I in Morocco? Up in the northern mountains. But again, that's kind of where I was headed with that. It's that learning the way that other people cure and dry and harvest and process their hashish. I'm from the Northern California, Oregon mindset where, we're drying in buildings or tents with dehumidifiers and keeping temperatures and humidity the perfect range, and going through everything, and the least amount of touch to the plant, and all of these other things that we're told, you have to do this for the best hash, for the best production values. When I go to Morocco and they just strip the plant right down, they dry it on top of their roofs in the sun, and they bake it to cure it within their attic spaces, and all of these things that I see that that's not how we would do things, but that's how this traditional hashish is produced in this region. For me, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to keep traveling and find more and see how other people were doing things. What is the processes? Why do you stretch the fabric across the drum and put it between? Why do you beat a drum, and as opposed to dry sifting in Afghanistan and those regions? Why are things done the way that they've traditionally been done? It's been my goal for the travels, of finding the roots of cannabis, the roots of why we're doing what we're doing here.
Awesome.
You got me stoned before you asked me to talk about.
We're gonna get even more stoned now. Yep. Yeah. So we got our 3-hole pipe here from Cool Hand Sue's. You can see this has no hole at the bottom, holes along the top edge here, the rim. This is to put your hash in. This way your hash doesn't melt down into the pipe. And then this little glass dabbing rod, you heat that little rod up and put it right on, heat it up for about 30 seconds and put it right on top of your hash. We have yet to use this.
It's basically reverse dabbing. You're using the rod as the vaporization tool.
We've got some dry sift here, some static dry sift, golden heads, care of our buddy Bakur Basha, our buddy Abdul we were just talking about. That is Cherry Frost. We got some Unity Farms dry sift. This is Starburst OG, the homie Unity Farms out of Trinity, our buddy. Also care of the homie Abdul, and another one. This says Red Velvet, also Unity Farms. So what do you want to try first here, Sean? We've got temple balls too we could pull out if that's more your jam.
Right. No, I'm fine with that. I like the dry sift.
Static or dry, my friend?
Wow.
Red Velvet or Starburst? Let's just start with the Starburst. Let's not fuck around.
Starburst.
Let's not fuck around. So, Sean, when you go to those countries, what were they smoking in? Is it mostly chillums? Is it mostly hookahs? what types of different, are there other types of pipe? Those are the most popular we always see around our community. And but are there other strange water pipes? Are there longer wooden pipes? What are you seeing out there, and what have you come across in your travels?
Yeah, that is what we traditionally think of when we go for hashish consumption, is somebody with a chillum or somebody with a big hookah setup. The hookah mostly is for shisha, so you're not usually smoking hashish in a hookah.
That's just something we do here more so.
Especially us in the Northern California, Oregon area, where we just have an abundance where we can fill a hookah with hash. That's a lot of money. If you consider it that way.
Sure.
It's a lot of hash to consume. You're also talking about regions where it's not entirely legal. So to have that paraphernalia with you, so it's strange that we think of these, for lack of a better word, bougie methods of consuming hashish, where most of the rest of the world is rolling it into tobacco.
Yeah.
And you're smoking a spliff, so usually 9 times out of 10, you're also going to have the filter in there as well. So you're not smoking a cowboy cigarette, just a non-filtered lung attack. But yeah, you're smoking tobacco with this hashish, and again, we're going to use a bougie method, and we're just going to put the hash into the bowl and smoke it right with the glass and everything else. The methods, that I would use, I've seen Abdul use for, just this hash as well, is you're breaking parts off and you're putting it, if you don't have something, but into your hand or into a vessel, a bowl of some sort, and you're going to be massaging all of those oils, all of that resin, and you'll massage that into the tobacco. So you're not smoking tobacco with a couple chunks of hashish. You're smoking a homogenized mixture of the resins of the cannabis and in the hash with the tobacco. Yeah.
I got you, dude. I'm ready. Are you ready? Well, I can't do the tobacco. You're a tobacco lover.
I am unfortunately a tobacco smoker.
I'm not going to go there today. I certainly smoked some tobacco and Charis when I was in India, when I was younger. And certainly tried a few puffs here and there, but it's intense, man. That is an intense high.
It is.
Yeah.
I was with some people in India, and they pulled out the bong and they started to put the hash with the tobacco, and as a tobacco smoker, I even know you don't do the bong hits with the tobacco. That hurts.
Well,
and we got fried.
That was definitely a scene here when we were younger in the NorCal coming up. It was called rips. You would take a rip. It was tobacco and a bong. You want to take the first maiden voyage here, Sean? I don't know how long you'd let this cool down.
I'm not sure what temperature we're going on.
Yeah, we could shoot it with the heat gun, but I think you should just go for it.
Does it melt if I put it near it? No
carb
carb on it. Just gotta check.
Oh yeah, it's puffing a little bit. Oh yeah, too hot. Yeah, shout out Cool Hand Suze, who's an awesome glass blower out of the area. She's been making these 3-hole bowls. I'm gonna look up her Instagram, get that up here.
Let's see, does it jar it? Does it melt it?
Shout her out. Cool Hand Suze, Susie Ratcliffe. Go give her a follow. Cool Hand Suze with 2 U's. And get yourself a 3-hole pipe from Cool Hand Suze. What do you think, Sean?
Not sure.
I think some just flew into my mouth. Wow. Make sure you
You clean up, but
clean out your pipe before you use it. It's always a good idea.
it shows our lung strength.
Yeah, so yeah, we've been fortunate enough to have some awesome hookah sessions out here in California. And Frenchy Cannoli was the first to introduce the Quasar top for those hookahs. That glass top that made it so we could enjoy our melt in those hookahs and introduce those to the community. We've been fortunate enough to get one and enjoy those at our events. We're going to have a nice hashy hookah sesh on the Equinox, September 21st at our next event here.
Yep. And I like those hookahs. I like the way that they work. I like, the Quasar bowls. It functions really well. It melts the hashish properly. You're not really burning it. But again, it takes a lot to fill those things.
Yeah.
It takes a community to get one of those Quasar bowls filled. But it's always nice because you get quite a variety of tastes and experience.
Yeah, that's really a big part of the fun is when you get 6, 7, 8, 10 different hash makers, works of art in there together. It's like nothing you've ever experienced. Get that melding of flavors.
And we saw doing it at Hash Camp that you can go through the different hashes as well. As each layer melts down into the next, you can taste the transition of hash. That's really neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Well, that melted in there pretty good. I think we're gonna need a little tool to scrape that out even, but yeah, tasty.
Yeah,
tasty little hit. Yeah. I really prefer putting sift, any kind of temple ball sift. I like just putting it in a joint, just like you're saying, like a spliff with tobacco. But
there is, there's other smokable herbs. You can put mullein in there. You can smoke hemp with THC. Hashish. That's doable.
That's absolutely right. Tamara, Heal Thyself Gardens, actually makes a product called the Sip It, Smoke It, Soak in It blend. And it's a blend of herbs, just like Sean was saying. I know she definitely uses mullein and rose and hemp, her CBD and CBG hemp. And you can make a smoking blend. You can put it in your bath and take a bath in it, or you can make a nice little tea out of it and drink it. You can really sip it, smoke it, and soak in it. And it's awesome. When we had COVID a couple summers ago, we had long COVID, about a month where we were really, really recovered from it, and couldn't dab, couldn't smoke, lungs just couldn't handle it at all. It would almost make me sick if I even thought about taking a puff of anything. And what was able to get me back towards smoking the cannabis again were those smoking blends. I was able to start consuming those smoking blends with a little bit of hemp and then slowly adding a little bit of cannabis to it. And it was light enough on my lungs and nurturing enough to my lungs. The mullein is a big one, a big expectorant. It'll help clean your lungs out. So yeah, we'll have to have Tamara drop in and talk about those smoking blends maybe on the next show. Really good stuff. Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, right on, Sean. So Sean, what do you got in mind for your next trip? I know you've been plotting and planning a little bit.
It's a never-ending battle.
Yeah. And is it a hunt for more hash, or is it just to explore more far forgotten lands, or what is the motivation these days, and any places on your horizon?
I mean, I am a wanderer. I've been a vagabond for years. Once I experienced that the world was more than just what we were told that we were supposed to stay in the office buildings and look outside the windows at nature. And, once I realized that I could live within nature and explore the world and see everything for itself. Yeah, it's been different. My goals change, like you said, I traveled the world for, let's see, in 2019, I did 7 countries, circumnavigating the globe. That was the goal. I just needed to go around in a circle. Did 7 countries, and that took 49 days or so. And that was a $4,000 trip.
Wow.
So that's, real shoestring stuff,
Yeah.
where you're not spending a lot of money, but you're seeing a lot of things. You're experiencing a lot of different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about where to travel, where to go, where's my next trip, where, what excites me. And as I walk down the path from my campsite up to the garden, I come to the realization almost every day that I can't do the city thing, like to go to Bangkok or Thailand and deal with a whole bunch of tourists, and that Europe just sounds way too overwhelming to me. I love Europe, but that's too many people. I live in nature right now. I hear sounds of animals, and so I'm thinking Nepal, northern India, the places that there's not really too many people.
Yeah, seriously.
Keep this vibe going. If I'm enjoying myself with nature, then I need to stay within nature.
Yeah.
Those
India and Nepal are definitely some magical places. Definitely some places you can do it on the cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the cheapest places you can travel in the world right now and live very comfortably. My dad's been going to India, as you know, since the 70s, and I've been over there a couple times with him. Took me over there when I was 14. I got kicked out of school for smoking weed, and Dad took me to India for 6 weeks. India and Nepal. He has a teacher in Rishikesh. We spent a lot of time there, and then went up to Nepal for a couple of weeks to go trekking, and had our passports and tickets and visas all stolen, pickpocketed. We were in Kathmandu at the big temple on big sacred day, and everyone's trying to push through one tiny little door to get inside the temple, and that's where all the pickpockets are, and they all press up against you. And sure enough, picked all this stuff off my dad. Wow. So we spent our time trying to get new visas, new passports, new tickets.
That's challenging.
And then I got very sick also, eating some bad food there. So, I don't need to tell you about that. But we did make it out into the country in Nepal, out into the mountains, out into the Himalayas, and of course in India and Nepal, cannabis growing everywhere, wild cannabis and hemp growing everywhere, fields of it.
Mm-hmm.
My dad would show up, just picked a giant plant, and just show up as a joke, just to make me laugh. And everywhere we go, there was always a sadhu on the corner, always sitting there smoking a charas, so would happily have you sit there and hit the chillum with them, and you give them a few rupees.
Mm-hmm.
And in Thailand, Nepal, we were able to find flour, able to buy flour. You're a Westerner, everyone wants to approach you and try to sell you something and hustle you, and sometimes it's exactly what you want.
And sometimes it is.
And I was lucky enough to have a very supportive, cool dad who knew a little ganja wasn't an issue. And but yeah, I would love to return one day to Nepal and trek those mountains and search for those seeds. This strain, the My Love Has Wings, which we could talk about a little bit. It's a Chinese landrace, but it's also crossed with a sativa from Nepal. It's got some of those genetics in it. And and then I've got some family lives in India too. My aunt and my uncle live in India and have for many years. They used to come to Humboldt and trim for the fall and make enough money to live like kings over there. And now they get enough Social Security. They don't have to come to the Emerald Triangle anymore. They're lucky that started for them before everything crumbled here. There are no more trim jobs. You can't come here and make $200 in a day working in the field. That doesn't exist anymore.
Nope.
And unfortunately, it used to be a really beautiful thing. A lot of people from around the world were able to travel and fund their lives and help a lot of other communities and bring money home. And
I met so many people from trimmers, like just having a farm, having different people that would come through every 6 months, usually, with a depth crop. And then your full term, you would have just this constant stream of people that literally from all over the world, to share all of our different experiences and stories. And because you're all stuck around a trim table or a trim room. You know, you're all there. You're harvesting. What are you going to do as you harvest plants? You talk to each other. You know, find out what life is like in your part of the world. You know, why cannabis brought us all onto this one farm. You know, yeah, it was really neat. It was a cool experience. But now, you know, everybody has to be licensed. They have to go through the whole permitting process, which costs money. They have to be American citizens, usually within the state that they're working in. There's so many rules and regulations, and there's no money in trimming anymore anyway. So it's, yeah, it really killed all of that. You know, the culture, the vibe, the community, whatever you want to call it.
And there are farms out here that are very dangerous and will still take advantage of you.
Absolutely.
And most likely a farm that's going to hire you without knowing you is going to take advantage of you. That's not a farm you'd want to work for.
Mm-hmm.
Up in the Emerald Triangle, when I was still living up in Garberville, every fall before the big crash, there would be tons of people, trimmers lining the streets, lined up in front of the grocery store. And over the decades, these people changed. Early on, it was all just hippies, and then it was Hmong people from Southeast Asia. There was a big community that came here, and they were great. And then there was a ton of Brazilians that came. There was a lot of Mexicans that came, but there was a big influx of Brazilians and Argentinians that showed up, and just like different waves that would come, different years would be a different wave, and so interesting. And then there'd be wars. Our local homeless would be trying to battle the Brazilians because they didn't want these out-of-towners coming and taking their jobs. It's like, it was a pretty wild time to be a resident of Southern Humboldt. And now there's nobody lining up for jobs anymore. There are no jobs. But during those times, I would always pick people up hitchhiking between Garberville and Redway. And if they didn't look too scary, I'd want to, pick their brain a little bit. How'd you hear about this place? Have you been here before? A lot of them had a friend that had some success there, and they'd heard about it. And this was their first or second year there. A lot of them had already been burned on farms, worked on farms for a long time. And then it came to time to get paid, and there was no money, or there was only a fraction of what they'd been promised. Mm-hmm. A very common story. A lot of sexual abuse, a lot of physical abuse. I mean, just a lot of bad scenes you wouldn't want to end up at. So I would give people a good warning, and if we knew good people that needed help, try to connect them. And yeah, it was a community that policed itself largely, but
scary stuff really did happen. And it still does happen.
Big time.
Big
time. A lot of Eastern Europeans came in, and some good and bad players there, and you heard a lot of crazy stories of human trafficking, and some true, some not so true. I mean, varying layers of racism, no matter what the race was. But in the Emerald Triangle, it's always been a thing. Growing up, there was always tons of racism in that community. And we've gotten to watch it change and become more accepting and open and welcoming. And now what's left is a big melting pot.
Yeah, it
and
is.
A lot of communities benefiting. And now you hear of there's a lot of people here from China that are growing here and sending flower and products back to China. There's a huge black market in China, largely run by the Chinese. Pretty wild stuff. What's going on in cannabis these days in the traditional market of which we're not even a part of. We are literally just doing our own little personal thing here and doing our little personal, our little hemp thing. Working on tomorrow's hemp farm for the year. So yeah, it's been a trippy time, man. Trippy time to still be a cannabis lover.
Yeah. It's been fun to watch this industry grow, implode, and still try to grow.
Sean, you were at the Emerald Cup with us last weekend. Not
was.
just last weekend, the weekend before. You've been to many Emerald Cups over the years. You've seen the biggest. You've seen the current incarnation. Tell us a little bit about that experience. It's the one positive is we really get to see some friends that we only get to see once a year or every couple of years. And it is always that feeling of, wow, you're still alive. Ghost, huh? You're still in it.
You're still doing this.
Am I alive? Am I a fucking ghost? Are we real? Fuck. Okay.
Should we have given up last year?
Yeah, exactly. What the hell were we thinking? So, always interesting to hear what people are up to. What's the new thing going on? What's giving people some hope? What are they doing?
Yeah.
And yeah, I know you always see a lot of old friends at these events.
Yeah,
What were some of the highlights for you?
I've enjoyed many an Emerald Cup. It was years ago that I switched from vending at Emerald Cups to just attending. And just it was around legalization time, where I just wanted to go and enjoy myself, have fun, meet my friends that you don't get to see. We're all doing our own thing up on the hill. It's hard to get everybody to get together. As well as some people, just you're hours and hours away from each other. You'll never see each other unless you really make the time. But Emerald Cup is a place where we were all able to come every year, to get together again. Over the past few years, it's definitely changed from what it used to be. The big heyday of thousands and thousands of people, crowds that you're all sardines in Santa Rosa. It wasn't like that this year. It was quite different, but the industry has changed. Everything has changed. To see Emerald Cup still going after 20 years, good job.
Seriously.
20 years is a long time to be dealing with this industry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of emotions, attitudes, and everything else that have come along with growing cannabis all over. I don't know why it happens, but it happens. It's so to deal with that for 20 plus years, that's wow.
Yeah, once you have to start getting licensing, and all your cannabis vendors there have to be licensed, and the DCC is there overseeing everything. I mean, we've seen a bunch of difficult situations that happened at previous Emerald Cups with even attendees' personal cannabis being seized by the DCC. Just some insane, people taking their jobs way too seriously, unfortunately, with a plant that really is just helps people and has done no bad in its career, in its millions of year-long career. A couple of naps were induced, as we mentioned, but
right. I think that's something that really it showed this year, was that there was no farm booths. I mean, not that there wasn't any farm booths, but what used to be the whole convention expos part of it was all of the farms that you wanted to see. You saw them grow throughout the year. You want to smell that flower. You've seen those plants. Everything that man knows. What you think everything that man knows about his plant, what he's put online, or she. You have an intimate relationship with each of these things that you're looking at, these booths, and that I don't feel that was there this year. It was very commercial, and here's the brands of the stores, that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, when big events, booths are expensive, the economy's tanked, farmers are broke. You mostly have retailers and distros being the only ones that can afford a big expensive booth, and so luckily they can often showcase farmers through there, and we do get to see a few of our farmers through there. I mean, that's kind of the best we can hope for these days, and it's kind of been like that since 2017 when it all changed to this recreational distributor model. Unfortunately, I know there's been some recent movement on this farmers market bill, but I don't know enough about it to speak on it. But hopefully that'll help the rec market, help get a little more farm to patient direct sales. Farm to consumer needs to happen, because the distributor model is difficult. The retail model is difficult. It should just be so simple to let people come to your farm and buy directly from you, or let these farmers markets exist in an easy way. We've been to markets where you had to go, after you purchased from the booth, you had to go off site and drive to a different location to pick up the medicine from a delivery truck. It's like insane. So make this easier, guys. The no need to reinvent the wheel here. This doesn't need to be so difficult. But yeah, Emerald Cup, certainly a reflection of the times, of the economy, of the cannabis industry. Much smaller, much lighter attendance, but that's just how it is. Like you said, hats off for keeping it going, and and still stiff competition, still lots of entries in those categories, and still very prestigious award to win when you win those flower and those extract competitions. They still mean something. And a bunch of our friends took home trophies this weekend, and we're very proud of them. And I know a lot goes into the judging. They test all those products. A lot goes into still putting on one of the best competitions out there. There's no denying that. And yeah. So big ups those guys. Let's hope we see a 21st edition, and maybe it's time to bring it home to Area 101 or back to the Mateel for a year or two. Maybe we make it small again and grassroots again, and see what happens with the rest of the industry in the next couple of years. Because, yeah, like you said, it all changes. Different companies, the big companies are all small now, all definitely there with a much tighter belt. Nobody has big, giant, multi-$100,000 booths like they used to. They've got a table or one booth and one person in it, So that's just the reality. We see it even with our events and a lot of the other events that we went to this year. Attendance is down. It's just, fuck, man, we're in a depression. There's no getting around it. There's no getting around it. And cannabis is a luxury item. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, you can't buy it with your EBT card just yet. You should be able to. I eat it. Gotta juice it. You gotta eat it raw.
That's how you get around laws in some countries. It's considered food. You get to eat it.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, well, they do that with hash in some countries, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Right on, Sean. Well, we've been gabbing for a while. What else do we need to cover?
I don't know.
We had that big male plant in the garden. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, we definitely had a big male plant.
Our biggest plant down here in our 6-plant personal garden that we've just been looking at and admiring and just drooling over all year. Oh, this one's a monster. And it's this late Chinese landrace that veges super long and flowers super late. So it hadn't even really started flowering. And it just keeps growing. And it's 10 feet tall. And it's 12 feet tall. It's just getting bigger and bigger.
It's the first thing I see every morning when I walk to the gardens. That is the first plant that shows itself to me. I come up from this hill and I come up over the crest and there's this big, beautiful plant, like Joe said, 12, 16 foot tall, in a hugel bed, sunflowers beaming right in front of it. Just, The other morning I came up over the hill and I saw it and it just, it was, perfect. Took a picture of it. Thought this is going to be beautiful Instagram content. I went right into Lightroom. I applied the filters, made everything look nice. It was beautiful. Posted the picture. Everybody loves the picture. Of course, it's great. Wonderful. Yeah. It's a great little sativa plant. I went up to water the field and thought nothing of it. I made my post. I was done with the day.
Yeah. And then I got over there and went to go check it out. It had started to do this weird thing. The very top branches on it were drooping a little bit. And I thought that I checked the soil a few days previously. I thought it was a little wet. We had a couple of cool days in the 70s, cold nights. We moved inside for a few days to sleep. It really cooled down. We got a little bit of rain one night. We had to run inside at 3:30 in the morning because it started raining. And we've been inside since. We'll probably move back outside tonight or tomorrow.
We need a better tent setup.
We need something over us. Anything.
when you come down for the event in September, come check out my tent setup. I'll show you how to avoid the rain.
Sean's a pro. He's got a real tight camp there. So yeah, we were, I was checking out this plant and got a little closer to it, and the tops, like Sean was saying, are way up in the air. There's no seeing them. You could see that they were just starting to stack, and it looked just like little flowers, but it's this narrow leaf sativa, this landrace. It doesn't make a big bud, so I wasn't expecting to see like a big bud or big hairs or anything. I wasn't seeing that, and it's 10 feet away looking at it. So couldn't get a good look, but then I looked at these lower branches they're farther behind, so they're just starting to flower. And sure enough, just nut city, all balls, no hairs. But luckily, even on especially on those lower ones, you could see that it wasn't developed. Nothing was even starting to to open or separate from the stem, where they kind of pull away from the stem before they open a little bit. Nothing even like that. It was really just starting to show those nuts.
So now that you're saying that, I'm realizing why, like, I haven't gone in for a closer look at the plant, is because it's surrounded by stinging nettles.
Oh yeah.
There's a 2-foot wide stinging nettle perimeter around this one plant. They protect it.
Very true.
Yeah.
Tamara loves her stinging nettle. She uses it in almost all of her products. We chop and drop it. We use it in our liquid fertilizers.
We get stung by it every day.
Every day. Every day. You can't go in that garden without getting stung. And it's especially vigorous this year. It's really shows the health of our hugels. The nettle is deadly big this year. She keeps chopping it back, harvesting lots of it, but it
comes back with a vengeance sometimes.
You can't climb up on that hugel without getting it in the leg. Sean wears shorts every day. I'm pretty good about my pants and my boots, but like I said, he's out here crocking it.
Yeah. Well, in that garden, I go barefoot. So, knowing that there's nettles everywhere, I brave it.
It's good for you. It's good for your circulation. This is the bullshit Tamara tells me every time I complain about getting stung. But like, I worry about kids, we had our friends visiting with their kid over the weekend. You don't want your kid to get stung up by it.
I've gotten it so bad that it's welted all over my arms, and it's a fun time.
It's brutal. Anyways, so we noticed this thing was a male. I went into freak out panic mode. Sean, male, get the gun. No, it wasn't that bad, but it was like panic mode, possible panic mode. I ran up to the house to let Tamara know I was about to kill 1/6 of her plants, just so she wasn't surprised when she came down there. It was like, takes a shot at me or something. Got down there. We shot a couple of videos talking about it. We sprayed it down really good with the hose. And that was what Tamara said, because she's had a loose male before. And she said, I went to move it without spraying it down. And that's when all the pollen went loose. Poof. So we hit it with the hose. And right away, normally if you hit a plant like that and there's already pollen loose and you hit it with the hose, it'll release a puff. This was moving around, not releasing anything. So I could tell, oh yeah, this hasn't dropped any pollen. Got that plant super soaked, probably spent, 3-4 minutes just hosing that whole plant down, making sure I was hitting the top where there was most chance of a pollen ball opening. And then just started systematically working my way up, cutting it down, putting it all in a black and yellow tote. Mm-hmm. And once I got up to the tops, really inspecting them to make sure nothing had opened, and we were all good. I didn't find one ball that was developed enough to even open. So
right.
No My Love Has Wings crosses this year. No My Love Has Wings flower this year, unfortunately.
Right.
Which was a bummer because we really enjoyed it. It was some talk about a land racy sativa. This was racy weed. This was speedy weed. Not my favorite smoke, but a lot of people we shared it with really enjoyed it. As if you're really into authentic sativas, this was the real deal.
Well, I'm curious now for the female flower of that, like when does she start flowering? How long does she actually want to go? If the male didn't start until this late, then she's gonna push.
Last year's it was the last plant out of the garden. We finished third week in November. It was around right before Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was the very last plant. It had gone through a bunch of rains. It was huge. It was all fallen over. Mm-hmm. But it made a pretty decent bud for being that late, that narrow sativa, narrow leaf. It made a pretty decent little cola. Nothing chunky, but it wasn't like your airy, we see some of these land races, some of the ties or different ones that there's nothing there. There's nobody there. Wisps. And this was actually a decent little flower. You could roll a joint out of it and have a nice little bag of it.
Well, yeah, I've seen a lot of comments on your video about it, that a lot of people kept saying, why didn't you notice it sooner? Why'd you let it go that far? How'd you not see it? It's a male. You should talk to Mean Gene. He should tell you about that.
Yeah.
When we were laughing about the meme that whole time, and we found a male during that weekend. We didn't go, but we found a male that weekend.
Yeah, we didn't go to reggae weekend. We stayed home, like me and Gene said, and we found a male in the hemp garden.
Yep.
The garden that we've been walking every day, but there's 300-400 plants up there.
I think there's closer to 6.
Maybe 6. I
Yeah.
don't even know, but it's 3. There's 6 rows up there.
Yeah.
We're walking them every day, and
They're like 100-foot rows, I think.
yeah, 120 feet.
Yeah. That's a lot of plant.
And that top row, sure enough, had a big old male ready to pop, really on the verge. That one was much farther along than this one. But
And the funniest part is, we, like you said, we walk it every day. I water those. I spray each one. We've all seen every one of those plants. We even did a walkthrough specifically for males the week before.
Just the week before, yeah.
How did you find the plant?
Just sitting there. I'd done my morning walkthrough, and then we've got a little table and chairs. I was just sitting there, enjoying the view, sat down for a minute, and yeah, just look over, and there it is, like 20 feet away, like clear as day. All balls, just tops, just covered in male flowers.
So that's how you find those things, is you have to appreciate your garden as well.
I went into full panic mode. Tomorrow, get the machete. We got the contractor bag out for that one, because this one looked like this could be a close call. Wetted that one down, and then contractor bag over the whole plant, cut it at the base, tied it up, let it sit in the sun so it could all disintegrate, break down, turn into compost. And that worked great.
Yeah.
And Sensimilla on the hemp crop this year. So that was a nice crisis averted. I think we've got all females in there now. It's looking good. The hemp's finishing fast. The white CBG from Oregon CBD looks like it'll be the first out of the ground. A couple of really early phenos of that I think we're going to throw some pollen on. I got a few different hemp high CBD males that we've collected pollen from this year. And yeah, we're still going to be able to make some seeds this year. So we're excited about that. And yeah, we're going to fresh freeze some of this material too, and see how some of it extracts, some of this CBD and CBG material, which notoriously has a bad reputation, CBD, for being a very difficult to wash resin, sticky. A sticky hash, which sticks to your bags, clogs up your bags, makes everything difficult. Sean, you have a lot of hash experience over the years. You were a BHO boy. You were a closed loop homie.
I ran a machine, flip valves, for a couple of years.
You were it was a real Heisenberg chain to a shipping container type situation, right?
It was but I mean, we all got to do some stuff. They used to laugh that the person that I had that we were working with, they found me in the woods making butane with Pyrex and flame torches in the woods with nothing, and I was making hash that went on to shelves in San Francisco dispensaries.
Incredible hash. I remember getting to smoke some of that early Benson Arbor hash, the Emerald Cups. And
well, that was after we got in a machine. I'd been trained by JD up in Oregon. I had gone through some education. Had vacuum ovens at that point. Was actually I had taught myself organic chemistry. I didn't like chemistry when I was in high school. That wasn't my jam. I didn't like it. But when I made BHO and wanted to distill and get down to pure THC and go extracting all of the different cannabinoids and terpenes and isolations and all, I had to learn organic chemistry. All from my phone in the woods. Just trying to figure it all out with glass that I got off of Amazon and these machines that created BHO and vacuum ovens, and really fun time. I got to experience and learn a lot, self-learning, but always I've liked hashish. I wanted traditional hashish. I didn't want to play with the machine. I wanted to do things in bags and dry sip things and make real hash. And that's that's kind of when Frenchie and I met up, and got to share a lot with Frenchie, and get some experiences there. And, that's kind of what fueled me to go around the world and search for traditional hashish. It was Frenchie telling me to not to listen to him and his experiences, but to go get my own. Go to Morocco and just go find a farm, go someplace and go find a field of cannabis. You'll learn a lot more that way.
Very cool.
So yeah.
Yeah, Frenchie was such an inspirational figure. Inspired so many of us. We talk about him so often. His memory lives on through all these incredible people that he taught, and all these people that we look up to and enjoy their hash. A lot of people don't realize they learned from Frenchie. Your Kush Kirks and your Amanda Reeds, and your Alice's, and your Lena's, and so many of these incredible hash makers. We owe this debt of gratitude to Frenchie, and he really, all those people, they share the knowledge. That was the big lesson, was do not gatekeep this. This is to be shared. This is how we celebrate the resin. This is how we celebrate the farmer and honor the farmer. And really brought a lot of reverence to the hash industry at a time when it was all BHO and yields and terps and just a real pretty gross time, pretty toxic time in the industry. So we're just so happy to see where solventless is, and yeah, it's been awesome to see your solventless journey all the way to making hash in your Prius. And
fresh hash from non-frozen plants. Just strip them right off of the living plant, right into a bucket. And I'm living out of my Prius at the time. So I've gone on quite a journey.
Yeah. Prius hash. We need to do a competition where all the hash has to be made in your car. We'll get Prius to sponsor it.
Right. The key is just the 1 gallon bubble bags, which does not sound like a lot of space at all. And it's really not, but you get to concentrate things, and you get to see what you're doing. It's easy to lose everything in a 3 kilo wash. There's a lot of material. There's a lot of stuff. You're not going to go through and clean all of that as nicely as you would if you just have a smaller chunk. You're going to care about it more.
And which window do you put the air conditioner and cool bud in? That's what I've been confused about.
You kind of do a pop out from the door ventilation thing. It gives you that much more room.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. That's a good idea.
It allows the duct fans to go in.
Very good idea. Well, Sean, we did some washes together this spring. That was a lot of fun. We got to do a couple washes together, pull some bags together. Hopefully we'll get to pull a few bags together this winter. Always a pleasure.
It is always fun to see how each of us does different things. What your methods are, what my methods are, how do we mesh these, how do we combine them and work nicely together.
Yeah, you didn't call me an idiot or tell me I was doing it wrong. That was nice. You didn't make me wear the bitch apron that Tamara makes me wear so that I know where I'm at on the hash totem pole.
You didn't splash me too much with the hose.
Well, that's what she does to me. I had to feel what it's like on the other side of the hose.
There was many times where I got the hose pointed. You're going to get the hose. I didn't do anything yet. I'm just holding a big heavy bag of cannabis. Yeah.
You get that hose, you get a little power hungry. You're like, I got the hose now. Aha! Who's the hash maker now?
Right?
Shoot one in there for Frenchie.
Yeah, you get to see who wastes the ice, who's stingy with the ice.
Yeah, exactly. I like
who wants to see whoever work harder to paddle the next round.
That's right. Right. Oh man, this has been fun, Sean. I'm kind of glad nobody jumped in today. I'm really glad you showed up. This would have been a much shorter show.
Yeah, just you.
Just me. It would have been about an hour shorter. I think we can wrap it up here. You got anything else you want to cover before we wrap it up? We should talk a little bit more about the event and send people where they need to go. But
yeah, I don't think I've got too much more. I mean, something that you did say in the beginning is, you kind of enjoyed my content more while you were sitting on the toilet watching it. And that's
still do.
Well, I think it's really funny because when I started traveling, that's kind of why I started making my content, was that I knew that most people were scrolling the Instagram feed while on the toilet. So I geared my content to people that were on the toilet. I gave you your I gave you your reason to sit there for another 2 minutes, and I thought that was extremely humorous to me, that's, that was one of the internal goals that I was having.
You're probably causing so many hemorrhoids in the cannabis community. You're the cause of these roids, Sean.
Yeah, it's all me.
Wow.
Yeah. So I find it humorous, but also, pat on my back. I guess I did my job that I set out to do, and I just produced pooping content.
Very good.
Or content to poop to.
Well, it's not shitty content. Don't get the wrong idea. Sean's content is A grade. My favorite series was Getting Baked in a Prius, where Sean literally does a baking show in his Prius.
Yep.
Not to be missed. You did some of those episodes here on the farm a couple of years ago, right? I
did. I think I made bread here. I don't know. There's been bread. There's been pastries, cookies, pies. I should do a meatloaf one soon, but I don't know. I feel weird about filming sometimes.
You don't want to attract bears to your set while you're filming. That's really cool, Sean. And people need to watch this because the way things are going, most of us are going to be lucky to be living in a Prius here in the future. And our kids are going to be lucky to be living in a Prius. So the sooner you learn how to get baked in your Prius, the sooner you might actually get to enjoy a loaf of bread in the future. Because we might all be fighting over these loaves of bread here pretty soon. I don't know. It couldn't hurt to just know how to have these skills and live more simply, appreciate more of what we do have. Certainly living with a lot less is the order of the day. And if you want to be a human in today's existence and not be bummed out about a lack in your life, if you want to just be more appreciative of what you have and learn how to live with more, do more with less, fuck, I'm high. Tune into Sean's YouTube.
Right?
But seriously, Sean, been a pleasure having you on the farm this year, and you just got a great attitude to the way you approach life and live your life. It's really inspiring and helps me to be more grateful every day for everything I have going on and my struggles and triumphs, and appreciate the good wins and the moments. And it's been so fun to work on all these events with you this year and work on the gardens with you, and just been a pleasure, dude.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed myself. I've had fun, and it's kind of been a rejuvenation for me, for living out of a Prius and traveling the United States for 3 years. I haven't really had time to stay someplace for a while. As much as I didn't want that, I did. So yeah, to be able to stay someplace and have a hand in a garden, and to actually watch plants grow and help them along their way, that it's made the difference. It's it's nice to get back into the soil, and really feel the roots. Why am I here? Why am I doing this?
Yeah, those things are also therapeutic, so therapeutic, and I can see it in your physical body and your mental state. You're healthy, and we're really happy to see it, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. You can come out here and see how healthy Sean is. Maybe he'll take his shirt off for you. Get down to the creek, right time of day.
Right.
September 21st, Equinox. We're having the next Regenerative Farming Guild sesh and seed swap and cured cup qualifier and 5-course hash pairing dinner. So much going on right here at Thrive Homestead at our very own farm. We've got a lot of work to do to get the property ready for you guys, but we were down in the campground today, checking it out, making some plans. And we are just so excited to welcome everybody here for a very special day, a very special night of music, farm tour, hash hookah sesh. We are going to do a live recording of this very podcast with some very special guests who will be attending that day. And just going to be a real sweet time with our friends and our community. And we're not in the city this time, folks. We're bringing it back up onto the hill. So come on out, bring your kids. It's a family-friendly event. If you want to get tickets, you can DM me. You can DM Tamara at Heal Thyself Gardens. You can DM our farm, our homestead page at Thrive_homestead, and we will send you the ticket link. This ticket link is not just posted anywhere. This is a private party, so hit us up. You are invited, but we want to know who the heck you are before we invite you up to our home, because this is a real special gathering, a real family affair. And we're going to need some volunteers as well. If you've ever wanted to get involved with our events, the best way to get involved in this community is come volunteer at the events. A lot of the people that are some of our closest friends and very involved in these events started out as volunteers. Our good buddy Bert started out as a volunteer at some of these events, and now he's running the competitions at these events. And it's how we've met some of our favorite people. So
we've had plenty of people show up to volunteer, and 2 years later, if that, they've become vendors and complete supporters of every one of our events. Like some amazing people have started off just as volunteers.
Yeah, come put in some time, show us what you can do. It's a good way to meet farmers. We refer people to our farmer friends when they need help, and you never know, you might end up on a farm. You might end up apprenticing under an incredible hash maker or farmer just because you came out and helped out for a couple of hours. And we always like to have fun at these events. We take care of our vendors. We like to feed them. We like to our volunteers. We like to show them a good time. We can also camp out. So we still have room for vendors. We have room for sponsors. We need help putting on this event. So if you're a sponsor, you want to supply some prizes for these winners of this competition, or you just want to throw some money behind these events, you like what we're doing. If you're a breeder, you want to send seeds for the seed swap table, hit the DM. We've had some awesome seed companies and breeders support us over the last few months.
Not just limited to cannabis either. This is where we welcome all seeds.
Send us your veggies and your flowers and your herb seeds and your fruit trees, your cuttings, your seed spores, your mushroom spores. We had Baker Creek Heirloom Seed Company sponsor the first couple seed swaps. We had Hoku Seeds Company send a bunch of high THCV and CBG genetics down from Oregon. And we've had some local breeders from the Emerald Triangle as well throw down seeds. And there's always people that put seeds on those tables during the event. So bring your seeds. You don't have to bring any seeds to take some. Bring some home and plant them and collect them and share them. That's what we like. A lot of the plants and veggies and flowers that are grown in our gardens have come from those seed swaps. And that's been the funnest part of it, big part of it. So, much love, y'all. This has been a lot of fun doing those shows. We are looking for sponsors to these shows if you want to throw some support behind it, so we can keep taking some time out during the hottest part of the day to do these. And it's been a lot of fun talking with our community members. A lot of fun talking with you, Sean. We'll definitely keep trying to get Tamara on here for some of these. And episode 8 in the books. We did it, Sean.
Nice. Good job, Joey.
Oh, dude, thanks for joining me. A lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, hit us up at Thrive, y'all. Get those tickets. We'll see you on the 21st. We'll be doing more of these shows before then. So if you want early access to these, you can head over to my Patreon. Let me see if I have a little slider for that. I don't, but patreon.com/thehumboldtlocal. You want to get early access, and head to Thrive_homestead for more info about what all we're up to on the farm. So much love, y'all. Peace. We love you. Be good out there. We'll talk to you soon.